surprise, surprise, faffing around video. So, I've been playing around with pasta alla Gricia, to say the least. And the trouble that I've kind of found with it is that you use the pasta water to thicken the sauce. And there isn't enough starch really in the pasta water to kind of make the sauce properly like you would do in a restaurant, because the restaurant would have a pan that they cook lots of pasta in throughout the day, and it would become saturated with the starch, and it would therefore make the sauce easier to make using that pasta water. So I remember that back in the good old days, we didn't used to cook pasta in a lot of water like the Italians do. We used to use a little bit of water, like a throwback from the Second World War, when there wasn't much fuel about in the country, and we were taught to save on fuel, so people cooked vegetables in a little amount of water and that type of thing to kind of cut down on the fuel that was available. So because that happened, and pasta is starchy, what used to happen is that the starch used to bubble and cause lots of bubbles and spill over the sides of the pan. So because we're clever, what you do is you put a little bit of oil in with the water, and then that stops things from foaming. So that's why in the UK we have a habit of putting oil in the water, in pasta water, to stop it from foaming. If you use lots of water, you don't need to do that. So I also remember that once doing that, what happened was that the pasta kind of almost went like a bit of a risotto. I kind of took my eyes off it, and it kind of, this was when I was very young, and it kind of went a bit like a risotto. So I was thinking, well, what can we cook pasta in a little bit of water in the pan, and then add some of the bacon from the guanciale, the fat from the guanciale, use that to stop it from boiling over, cook it more like a risotto, and then kind of build the guanciale, the pasta thingamajig that kind of way. So I've just softened the pasta in a tray in some warm water, and already there's kind of quite a lot of starch coming out of that, but I just need to soften it so it fits in the pan just that little bit better, because otherwise it's just going to stick out over the side. So we can put that in there like that, and it's going to kind of steam to start off with. So, but we'll just need to keep an eye on it. So that kind of, I don't know if you can see, but that water's already kind of quite starchy. So we'll put it on a low heat, because we don't want to fry the side of the pasta on the side of the pan. We need some more water in than that. The kettle's boiled. So we're going to kind of, hopefully, boil off, by the time the water's soaked into the pasta and kind of boiled off, there won't be much water left in the pan, so that's okay, like that. It's breaking every single rule of pasta cooking, but rules are meant to be broken, in my eyes. And then we've got some, so the recipe is 125 grams of my homemade guanciale, which is there, which I fried off. Lots of fat come out of it. We're not going to use all that fat, but we're certainly going to use all that guanciale. And then it's 250 grams of hard, just cheap pasta, and then we've got 75 grams of, you'll see it start to foam up soon. And then we've got, it's cooked for 10 minutes, so that should be al dente. And then we've got 75 grams of Italian hard cheese. I'll show you the packet. Well, it's not, this is a different packet, but I bought two of them. So it's just the cheap stuff from the supermarket, the Italian hard cheese. I don't know why, I don't know what particularly cheese it is, it's just hard Italian cheese. So it might be a Parmesan, it might be a Pecorino. It doesn't specify which milk it's used with, made with, so it could be, it's just not saying what it is, and it's probably just kind of quite a young cheese, a young hard cheese rather than an older cheese. So that looks like it's going to be okay. So what you normally do is you cook the pasta, and then you finish off cooking it with the in the fat and some pasta water in the pan, and you mix it all together, and it forms a sauce. And then you take it off the heat, you add the cheese, fold it all together, we need some salt in that, fold it all together, and then that's what forms the sauce. So it's kind of a, how would you describe it? It's kind of like deconstructed cheese sauce. So what people would normally do is they kind of make a cheese sauce separately and then add the pasta to it, rather than forming the sauce in the pan. So, but it should work. But it's already getting kind of quite, there's lots of starch in there already. So you just need to keep an eye on it. But you can see it's going to foam up and it'll get worse. This is absolutely sacrilege to people who cook pasta, and you really shouldn't do it. But I'm curious. So let's just have a go and see if it works. Let's see what happens. You know, I think it will make a better sauce, if I'm honest. And who doesn't like breaking a few rules? So, do we need to carry on filming while this is cooking for 10 minutes? Well, we'll cook it for 5, and then we'll kind of see where we are at. Because we won't have any pasta water kind of add to it. But it might just work. I've got good feelings. I've got good feelings. So we'll pause, and then we'll get to the stage where the pasta's that little bit softer than that. But you can see it's foaming up, and that's what used to happen. Certainly in the UK, that it would foam up and spill out over the sides of the pans, because we didn't know. You know, in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, we didn't know about cooking pasta. You know, we just didn't know. We just didn't know. You know, not a lot of people had travelled that far. There was Italians in the country, but they weren't really sharing their secrets. You know, and certainly they would. Like most people who move to another country, they kind of tailored their cooking towards the taste of the people in that. Right. Tailor the cooking towards the people in that country. So, like Indian food won't be as spicy, won't be as rustic, that type of thing. So, as you can see there, it's foaming up. So we'll just need to. We'll just take a tablespoon of this fat from the Guanchiale, which is delicious. And what that will do, it'll show you that all those bubbles will go away like that, so it won't boil over. So we'll come back when the water's almost evaporated. But as you can see, it's going nice and with that. Fingers. I've got blisters on my hands. I've been doing some tarmacking for my mum. So I've got blisters on my hands. So you can see that light is being a pain in the ass. There we go. So as you can see, the water's getting kind of quite cloudy, which is all the starch coming out of the water. So, which is actually what we want. So this might be a way around things. So we'll carry on cooking until it's ready, and then we'll put everything together and see if it works. So I'll pause and then we'll be back. Right, so pasta is now at al dente. So as you can see, it's kind of formed a gloopy sauce in the bottom of the pan. So that's all the starch that's come out of the pasta and all the water has evaporated off. So it's looking shiny. It's almost kind of like a sauce already. So we need to put in the bit more fat. Let me get that out of there without. Alright, it's fine. We just need those delicious bits of crustiness from the bacon from the bottom of the pan. Not the bacon yet, because it'll just get stuck to the cheese. There's loads of heat in the pan. That's all right. So, right there, cheese in. Turn the heat off, because we don't want to add the cheese with the heat, because what will happen is it has a tendency to split the cheese, which is not what we want. So we'll stir it in like that. Knocking the camera. And then we need a bit more water. We haven't got any pasta water because it's all evaporated, but just a little bit of water from the kettle, just to do that. A bit more water. That's a better sauce. It's the starch that makes the difference. I knew it was. I knew it was. I knew it was. keep knocking the camera. Sorry. Why am I apologising? I knew it was the pasta water. I knew it was the pasta water from the pasta being cooked all day. That's a much better sauce. That's a much better sauce. It's just down to that pasta water. Right, so bacon in. Well, guanciale in, homemade of course. There is video. So, that looks like that. That's what it's supposed to look like. So, let's put it in a bowl. There we go. Who would have guessed it, eh? Breaking all the rules of making pasta. To make pasta alla Gricia at home. So that's a much better sauce, as you can see. So, bottom of the pan, all that sauce there. So that's kind of how it wants to be. I'll put it all in. I'm going to eat it all. Who am I kidding? So that's there. Swish out with a bit of water. That, so you'll be able to see. Oh, that doesn't want to work. So I just want to not combine together, but you can see still loads of starch in the bottom of the pan, but the cheeses just want to split out the sauce, but that's fine. So a completely cheating way of making pasta alla Gricia with a much better sauce. I've completely broken the rules of cooking pasta, and I'm sorry, I wish I never did it, but it works. It works. A little bit of pepper. Yeah, so it works. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. I'll cook pasta in the proper way from now on. But there you go. And that was the timer for the for 10 minutes for the pasta cooking. But there you go. Pasta thingamajig done in an unconventional way, which really works really well.